before we begin, remember to hit the like button on this video, leave me a comment below, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and share this video with your family and friends and on social media. Guys, this is the only way that Spain on a Fork can continue to grow. I've said it once, I'll say it again. If it wouldn't be for you guys, none of this would be possible, and I truly appreciate and love every single one of you. Anyways, today we've got a great show. We're making a Spanish paella campera with vegetables and shrimp. Now the word campera basically means like garden or from the forest. This is a very old recipe back a couple hundred years ago before there was even supermarkets. So when people made paellas, they would use whatever vegetables they had in their garden and whatever proteins they had available. Either a chicken, rabbit, or if you were by the coast, whatever fish you catch that day, which is kind of the paella we're making today with shrimp and vegetables. Anyways, this is such an incredible paella. It has a beautiful Spanish flavor to it. It's very easy to make and it's done in 45 minutes from start to finish. Now really quick before we get started, a couple recommendations when you're making paella. The first thing, the pan. Make sure you use a paella pan. They're very inexpensive and they cook everything correctly. The second thing is the rice. Very important to use round rice. Very similar to medium grain rice. Do not use any other substitutions. And last but not least, the one I always say, the saffron. Use some high quality saffron by any means. Do not use imitation saffron when you're making a paella. As always, I'm using saffron threads from Golden Saffron. This is one of the best saffrons in the market. Grade 1, high quality, premium saffron. Gives this paella that beautiful Mediterranean flavor. I highly recommend it. Links below where you guys can get all these fabulous ingredients. Alright folks, let's get started. We're going to begin by grabbing 1 green bell pepper and 1 red bell pepper that have been washed. And then we're going to start cutting up our bell peppers. I'm only going to be using half of each for this recipe. Next, we're going to peel 1 large carrot. I always like to have a paper towel underneath for an easy cleanup. Then I'm going to cut off both ends from the carrot. Cut the carrot in half. Cut each half in half vertically. And roughly chop it. Then I'm going to finely dice half of a brown onion. And finally mince 4 cloves of garlic. Then we're going to reserve half a cup of fava beans, also known as broad beans. Now these are already pre-cooked and frozen. If you can't find these in your area, you can just use jarred ones. And reserve half a cup of tomato puree. This is basically canned tomato sauce. Alright, let's start cooking our paella. Grab a paella pan, heat it with a medium-high heat, and add a 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil. 2 minutes after adding in the olive oil, I'm going to add the chopped bell peppers and the chopped carrot. And start mixing them around with the oil. You want to mix this occasionally, that way nothing burns. About 5 minutes after adding the bell peppers and the carrots, I'm going to make a well in the pan. And add the diced onions. And the minced garlic. And mix them around with the oil. About 2 minutes after adding in the onions and the garlic, I'm going to add half a teaspoon of sweet smoked Spanish paprika. Season everything with sea salt. And freshly cracked black pepper. And mix it all together until it's well combined. Once everything's well mixed, and again you want to do this pretty quickly, that way that paprika doesn't get a bitter flavor to it, add the half cup of tomato puree, the half cup of the broad beans, and season again with a little sea salt. And again, mix this all together until everything's well combined. About 2 minutes after adding in the tomato sauce, I'm going to add 2 1/4 cups of vegetable broth. Very important to use a good quality vegetable broth in this paella. Pinch in half a teaspoon of saffron threads. And lightly season again with sea salt. And give it a gentle mix, that way everything's evenly divided. Once this comes to a boil, I'm going to let it boil for an extra minute. That way that saffron can really infuse into the broth. Then I'm going to add 1 cup of round rice. Again guys, very important to use round rice. very similar to medium grain rice. And we're going to gently mix the rice around, that way it's evenly divided throughout the pan. After this point, we're not going to mix the rice anymore as this disturbs the cooking process of this rice, but you can give the pan a quick shake once in a while. 8 minutes after adding the rice into the pan, let's go ahead and add the shrimps into the paella. And again, you can always give the paella pan a quick shake once in a while. It's been 10 minutes since we added the rice into the pan and about 2 minutes since we added the shrimps into the pan. As you can see, there's very little broth left. At this point, let's go ahead and lower the fire from a medium high to a low medium, and we're going to let this simmer between 3 to 4 minutes. After simmering our paella between 3 to 4 minutes, and you can see there's very little broth left, it's time to achieve the socorat, which is that layer of caramelized rice underneath. Let's go ahead and hit this to a medium-high heat, and I'm going to cook this between 1 to 2 minutes. After about 1.5 minutes, this paella is ready to go. Let's go ahead and remove it from the heat. And I'm going to cover it with some foil paper and a dishcloth. And I'm going to let this rest here between 4 to 5 minutes. Very important to leave your paella to rest between 4 to 5 minutes as everything's still cooking in there, including the rice. After about 5 minutes, I'm going to uncover the paella and garnish it with a couple slices of lemon. Okay guys, our paella is done in 45 minutes, so easy to make. It looks beautiful and it smells amazing in here. Let's get in there and give it a try. This looks so good. Here we go. That is amazing. This combination of all these vegetables, wow. And they're all perfectly tender, perfectly cooked. The saffron really shines through. You got that socorat, which is that layer of caramelized rice underneath. Absolutely amazing. Now this paella serves 2 people, but I think I'm gonna eat this all by myself. Really quick before I go, let me try one of the shrimp. See how they turned out. Here we go. I also grabbed myself some rice and more vegetables. Bravo, the shrimp are perfectly cooked. They're a compliment to all these vegetables. You guys saw this paella, so easy to make, full of so much Spanish flavor, done in about 45 minutes. If you enjoyed today's video, hit that like button, leave me a comment below, and if you're not subscribed, smash that subscribe button. Till the next time, hasta luego.